We are live. We are live. Greetings to each and every one of you who chose to join today. Those who will listen, we want to welcome you back to another version of House Calls with yours truly, Dr. Rory T. Edwards. And today I think we're going to have a very invigorating conversation. And if you saw in the announcements, it's really about something that we always look at and something that is very prevalent at the start of the new school year. I saw many pictures of individuals going back to school today. I have been around looking at different schools and seeing how we often find ourselves saying certain situation, I can't afford that. It's not in the budget. Versus looking at it from an investment in long-term outcomes and an investment in your child's overall place on this planet. And one of the things that I saw is that most people look at it as uh, just investing or just saying I can't afford something based on money. But you have to look at it. What about time? What about opportunities? What about things that are going to give your child or even yourself, you might be listening to this, an opportunity to grow and to understand that you are valued. And what brought me to this was as the start of school is happening around the country, some places have already started. Um, Many places started today, some will start next week, but we know this is the start of a new school year. And one of the things that is really, really dear to my heart is that many years ago, when I was an educator in the state of Connecticut, I met a gentleman out of Chicago who was doing some amazing work, and he has since passed on. And I want to, say rest in peace to brother Philip Jackson. Philip Jackson was the founder of an organization called the Black Star Project. And one thing that Philip had launched after I met him was an initiative that was called the 1 Million Fathers March. And what that march did is it gave fathers an opportunity to walk their children to school. It gave fathers an opportunity to be at the school just to let people know that fathers are active in their children's lives. And one of the great things was that what really brought Philip and I close was that I connected in Connecticut with the governor, and I got the governor to make, and I don't want to say make, but I got the governor to agree that on that particular day that we dedicated as the Million Father March Day in Connecticut, that fathers who had jobs, fathers who uh, didn't have opportunities to get to the school to celebrate their children would be able to do that. Their jobs would not be affected because they were at school welcoming their children into their first day of school. And the one thing that really took off was that a very good friend of mine, who he and I were speaking about this the other day, Russell Williams, was the president of the Hartford branch of NAACP. And we galvanized many of the NAACP leaders in Connecticut to actually spearhead that in their particular city. Now, Russell and I rode around to many of the cities just to see how the initiative had taken place in cities, and it was to our amazement that the schools embraced it immensely. They embraced it immensely. And as years have progressed, I don't see as much information about the Million Father March as I saw before that was taking place across the country. And many people have not taken this initiative to first and foremost how important that was to schools, but how important it is to prepare your children for school. We know that school is a vital part of our communities, and we know that our children need to be prepared. And like I said, here where I am located, school just started. And so many people who do know me know that when I do things, I usually do things by myself. I usually do things in a very stealth mode so that I don't try to draw attention. I don't go to places looking for the cameras. I don't call the television stations or the newspaper to tell people I'm going to be at a particular place for you to concentrate on me. My job is to look and see how I can be of service in that particular area. And so, with that being said, I did do a little surveillance here, and I went to schools primarily where children didn't have to wear uniforms. And what I went to see was that how many individuals were committed to investing in their children's education. Uh, were their children prepared for school? And some of the things that I looked at is how your children's behavior was. I looked at some of the schools, the behavior. One of the things that I have been noted for in my career was that I worked at a school in New Haven, Connecticut called the Amistad Academy, and in its inception, Secretary of Education Roderick Page came to the school and stated that the culture and climate that I was responsible for was a model for modern education. And the reason why he said that is because we concentrated on not just the students coming in to learn, but letting everybody know that it was a learning environment. And one of the things that can be incorporated into a learning environment is behavior. Now, behavior is not just during the day. Behavior is how you prepare coming to school, for school. So parents, uh, when I'm looking at your children prepare for school, we're talking about the clothes that they're wearing, um, the backpack. Are they prepared? Do they have supplies? And I know across the country, some individuals did some backpack and back to school supplies initiatives in the community, and I know that's so very valuable to many who can't afford that. But one of the things that I'm talking about now is that you're saying I can't afford that, or is it an investment? I went to they call it swap meet, and I saw more people at the swap meet buying the fake designer clothes for their children to wear because externally they wanted their children to be the best dressed individual at the school. But the best dressed individual at the school, that's only on the exterior. The purpose of school is to entice and enhance your interior and your brain so that you're able to compete in life once you become an adult. So it's not about the exterior. And I saw so many people buying the fake designer wear for their children to be dressed to impress on the first day of school. And so that's what I looked at. I was looking at wow. And I saw a lot of these children in some of these schools that are not required to wear uniform to have on $100 sneakers. Uh, well, like I said, the fake designer wear. But the disappointing thing was that the bus that they were picked up on was at the extended stay hotel. See, there's a significant difference in trying to have your child look well, but you didn't invest in your own family's outcome by living in the extended hotel. Not saying that people that can't live on hard times, but you have to realize that putting your children in the best clothes to go to school is not an investment in them. It's an investment that your children need to look the best, but not be the best. And I'm just saying this is from that perspective. One of the other things that was very, very disturbing was that how the children entered the bus, how the children exited the bus. The bus is an extension of school. The bus is a place for reflection. The bus is a place where you have the opportunity to engage with others who are going in the same direction as you, but also to engage on what that day was about, how that day gave you an opportunity to invest in your own life savings, your own, like I talked about last week, your life account. What are you depositing into your life account? And those are the things that I looked for when I saw these individuals, that I was just seeing how people are investing in their children in school. The third thing that was very disturbing to me, and please don't think that I'm not of this nature, was the language. Was the language. I talk about all of the time that it's not what you say, it's how you say it, it's how individuals receive it, and it's how it's intended. But I heard more profanity at the bus stop. And it wasn't just profanity amongst each student. It was profanity getting on the bus. It was profanity in the schools I walked through. It was profanity to the staff. It was profanity, just like that's a new language. And when you understand that individuals who language is very limited, means that the investment in their overall outcome will be limited. It will be limited. And I mean, most people may say, well, this is a new generation. There's no new generation that will definitely be impacted by certain things. Your behavior, one. Your language, two. How you invest in your life account, three. Those are things that'll be never change. They'll never change from generational to generation. They'll never change. And if people don't start to invest, look at it as an investment, or look at it from the perspective as I can't afford it, or like schools say, it's not in the budget. Well, you'll find things in the budget, and people will find things if they can't afford it to get it, if it's going to make them look better. And again, what that is doing is it's only enhancing the outer part of an individual. What does that do psychologically to people? What is the reason for that? Because I know people said you've been talking, but where is this going? Well, where it's going is what I want to talk to people about: the psychological effects and impacts that it has when you believe that you can't afford something, but you'll sacrifice to put things on individuals, but not prioritize what your true investment should be in, right? And one of the things is, what is that? That's a sacred city mindset. It's a mindset that puts you in a situation where individuals believe the resources that they have, or I can make financial sacrifices and people will respect me more, are skewed by the fact that the essential things that you need in life are not part of your priorities. Food, water, shelter, things of that nature are not a priority versus how maybe your children look going to school. The investment in how you are helping your children after they come home from school. How are you preparing your children for the next day to be prepared for school? We have so many different situations that we need to be aware of, that we don't see the effect, and we see it not as an investment. When people go to invest in the stock market, the one thing that they do is they check on it every day. They don't invest in something and then let the stock market just do its own thing. They check on it every day. They make sure that their investment is growing. If their investment looks like it's in danger, they make some adjustments. This is what we're talking about. The greatest investment for you is your children. And if you are not making sure that your children are the priority every day in your life, then you are not going to have a great return on your investment. What is another psychological impact? It's called self-worth and identity. You believe that people will respect you more based on what you look like versus what you were built for, right? Now, we are built by our brains, our heart, all of our emotional and our psychological traits. But when we think that our look is the thing that people are going to be attracted to, It's really not, because eventually your clothes will you'll outgrow your clothes. You won't be able to acquire enough money to purchase those clothes. You'll always go and purchase clothes that are imitations because you can't afford the real thing, but you believe that if you are wearing something that looks like the real thing, that people will respect you more and believe that you have invested highly in yourself. Those are the things that I think are very, very disturbing to me. And as I've gone around and as I've talked to people in different school districts, uh, I've found that the school building just opened. The school builders didn't do a great job on orientation. The school buildings didn't do uh, any celebratory returning back to school for the students. They just open the doors and you go to your classroom. You make people feel welcome in the environment that they are going to be engaged in for the next 9 months. If you can't design a culture where kids don't feel, or children, excuse me, don't feel like they're welcomed, they will only become exactly what that environment energy is in that particular time. Like I said, I saw a lot of smiling faces today of individuals who are going to school. I hope that some of the parents who listen to this will take the time to invest in preparing your children to go to school, not just telling them to get up and get dressed and go to school. Having a conversation about them, about not school, about the process of learning. What is the educational process? It's not that you have to take everything out the school books and believe that that is going to define you. You also have to find ways to go and find information for yourself. Learn how to find your purpose. Learn what your purpose of being in an educational facility is. Take time to do that. Prepare yourself. If you don't have a lot to give, at least give your children something to eat that's nutritional, that can generate some energy in their body, that gives them the opportunity for their brain to work and begin to learn. Don't just lay in the bed and bark orders. Don't come to the bus stop looking disheveled. Come to the bus stop with some pride so your children feel proud of you. Don't go to the school building believing that you're the only person who should be heard. There's thousands and thousands of school children in the school buildings whose parents all want to be heard. But if you want to make a true investment in your voice being heard, be a positive voice in the overall outcome of the school building that your children go to. If you have to get up and get on the bus with your child, that's an investment. Your children will remember that for a very long time, to say that my mother even rode the bus with me to school, or my mother or father walked me to school. But walk your children to school like Philip Jackson's initial Black Star Project, Million Fathers March was intended to be. It wasn't the fact that your children just went to school. You welcomed your children with pride, with dignity, with distinction. And you let your children know that there was resources there for them. You let your children know that we're here for you. And you let your children know that whatever you need, we are your support. We are here for you. And that's just my change of of narrative today, because there was just something that happened. I jumped in the car and drove around to look at schools because I saw the school buses pulling in and saw the school buses pulling out. And I said, let me follow a few of these school buses and just see how the interaction was. I think out of all the school bus stops I went to, I think I saw one where I saw more than one parent there with their children. And I saw a lot of younger age children at the bus stop without their parent. You have to be more active and more engaged in how your children develop into what your dreams are of them. You have to be. You have to be. And this is not an attack on anybody being a parent, because I know parenting is hard. I really do. But I know with the support and with the commitment to your children being an investment, you can make some great strides and some great changes. So with that being said, I ain't going to end today on this topic. But I do want you to know that you are once again listening to House Calls with Dr. Rory T. Edwards. We will be back probably later this week because, like I told you last time, I do have a few new books coming out. But I'm really pushing my newest book that's called The Man That's Missing in Me. And it's something that I think needs to be active in all people's lives. So I want to read something before I leave too. I want to read something. My great friend Gregory Sneed just posted. He said, I was 10 years old and I wanted a paper route. My dad took me to pick up the application. He made me wear a shirt and tie. That message lesson is something I held on to. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? It's the pride that his father said, no matter what you do, you look the part. You look the part. Even if you're going to something that is not qualified for you to wear a shirt and tie, you go to show people you have pride. That's something he's carrying on into his adult years. I'm not going to put his age out there, but definitely want people to know that we have to be a little bit more prideful in how we send our kids off to design and develop their journey. We definitely have to. So I hope this doesn't make some people be upset because I'm talking about you as a parent. No, I told you parenting is hard. Definitely had my hiccups. I want you to know that. But one thing I want you to know is that my children can never say that there wasn't a day that if they needed me at the school or they needed something that I wasn't there. May not have had the answer. Couldn't have did the math with them. But I made sure I found somebody who could do the math with them. And that's what I'm telling you to do. Whatever you need for your children, it's out there. Make the sacrifice. Don't say I can't afford it. Don't say it's not in the budget. Look at it as an investment. Look at it as an investment. And you'll be glad and you'll be really, really excited about your return on your investment. So until we talk again, I want you all to be well. I want the school children, parents, to let your school children know that they are special and that they are valuable and we value them in the world. And so I want you to think about it. Look at what you do during the day and think about it. And maybe you can change one little thing. One little thing. Maybe the breakfast thing. Get up a little earlier. Go to bed a little earlier so you can get up a little earlier so that your children see your smiling face when they walk out the door going to school. Right? And then be there. If you're not working, be there when they get home. Be at the bus stop when they get off. Ask them how their day was as you're walking back home. Ask them. The one thing I used to ask my granddaughter all the time. She owes me about 10,000 answers now, but every day I used to ask her, what was the one thing that you learned today? Ask your children that. What was the one thing you learned today? And then you journal that. And then you could go back and reflect on them as this is what they learned. Make some adjustments to your daily routine. Don't just have children. Invest in your children. All right? So, this is Dr. Rory T. Edwards. You can definitely check out my house calls every week. We try to do it 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon Eastern time. But we try to come up with topics that you all have sent me messages to engage in. And we always want to do it from the perspective of the mental wellness, mental health, the psychological impacts that it has on people becoming the best possible person, that they can be in finding their purpose. So until we talk again, you all be well, bless up, and Ashe.